Well, cool. All right, guys. Thank you very much for joining us for this episode of The Canyons Are Calling. First of all, how about
Thank you.
everybody just tell us who they are and how old they are?
I'm Colette and I'm 10 years old.
I'm Jacob and I'm 15.
I'm Jedi and I'm 7.5.
I'm Katie and I'm 13.
I'm Melody and I'm 17.
And then Ryan and Liza, and we're old.
If you're older than 25, you don't have to say your age. Okay. Well, great. I hope I can remember everybody's names. That's a lot of you. Did I count five?
5 kids.
5 kids and then mom and dad. Perfect. Okay, so how old was everybody when they first started rappelling and canyoneering?
Colette.
I was 6.
11.
4.
No, Jedi was
3.
3.
Oh, yeah, 3.
Oh, wow.
9.
That's Katie.
13.
That's Melody.
Nice. Do you guys remember your first experience canyoneering or rappelling?
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about the very first time?
Go ahead, Katie.
Our very first time we went on Lucky Charm. It took us a while. How long was it? Do you know?
Like 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah. We actually went down through the main drainage instead of like the other way.
Okay. I haven't
Yeah.
done Lucky Charm
So
yet. So, okay. Did you like it or was it like, how did you feel about it at that time?
It was really hot, but it was pretty fun. And I got excited every single time there was a blow of wind.
Nice. It can get hot in the summer, especially in the slot canyons, huh?
Yes, it can. Oh, Jed passed up.
I remember at the end when like people sent the search and rescue
That
team.
wasn't that one. Wrong.
That was in Leprechaun.
Oh,
That was
It's
Leprechaun.
okay.
I'm forgetting like everything.
That's good.
That's fine. I think that was a story that we are going to talk about today, though, was the time you took a long time in Leprechaun.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about
So
the
how long?
story?
How long was Colette?
Colette.
It was 15 hours. You sure?
Uh-huh.
Which,
And what time did we get started?
9:20, I think.
It's about 9 a.m. And
9 a.m.
and how old was Jed?
3.
He was
4.
Oh, he's 3.
he was 4.
He was 3.
4.
He was 3.5 when he went through it backwards.
Yeah. So he was 4 years old. And he hiked that first part
Didn't he turn 4?
by himself. So he
Wow.
was a trooper. We were carrying him. So it took us a little while to get to the head of the canyon, which was noon, I think, when we got there. So it took us a little while to get there.
okay. Which fork of Leprechaun did you do?
We did the right fork.
Okay.
Not right fork, left fork.
No, right fork.
It is the long one. It's the long one. So I'm pretty sure it's the.
Okay. I know the middle one's the long, more skinny one.
It's
Yeah.
not the middle
It's not
one.
the middle one. It's the one past.
It's the right, I think.
I think it's the right when you're looking up canyon.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so you got to the top of the canyon in what, a little over 3 hours? And then what happened?
We ate lunch, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we ate lunch at the top of the canyon. And then we started down in the canyon. So what were some fun things that you guys remember?
I remember always like jumping between rocks. Like I jump to one rock and then I jump to another rock and I just keep doing that.
Like you were stemming?
No, like it was like flat ground and then there'd be like a few rocks on the ground. I'd like jump on them.
Okay. So she's like 6, so she's just jumping
Okay,
playing,
just doing some
going up
little
and
boulder
down rock.
hover.
Yeah, like some bouldering stuff.
Cool.
What do you remember, Katie?
Like from the canyon.
Yeah, that was fun.
Something that was fun was probably going down the rappels, really. Like going down them and like, I don't know, practicing. That was fun.
Nice.
What do you remember, Melody? It was fun.
I just walked through it.
You just walked through it.
That's the teenager for me.
Hey, Jen,
Right?
you remember that was fun? No? Do you remember the zip line that we made?
What's it?
So we made a little zip line going through it.
That's what I was
Liza.
just gonna say.
I'm
We did a
guessing
zip
that
line.
would be fun. But I don't remember.
Go ahead, Liza. What I said.
The zip line.
Okay. So there was a zip line in it.
Did you make a
They
zip line so
enjoyed.
the kids could avoid water, or what was the purpose of the zip line?
Yeah, it was to avoid water.
Okay.
So
We had 3 kids down on one end, all holding it.
Okay.
our go ahead, Melody.
I didn't exactly get the luxury of the zip line.
Because she
You were
went
one at
down.
the bottom holding it. Someone always has
Yeah.
to take the plunge for the rest of the team. That's awesome.
She did that more than once. Guys are so
Okay.
quiet.
So then what happens
They are.
after the zip line?
So I think the biggest thing, so the reason why it was taking so long is we had a lot of kids,
It was the same.
and
also
I was
because
doing
slow.
guided rappels on all of them, so that, well, like a backup safety on all the kids.
Okay.
As they go down. So there was kind of a time element with that, and being that there's like a lot of little drops
Hmm.
that probably most people can climb,
But it was
But-
only their second canyon.
but they
Right,
were pretty
understand.
new at it,
Yeah.
and so sometimes those things take a little bit of time. So we figured that with every rappel that's there, we were probably an hour at least with trying to get everybody down and stuff like that. So I think that added to the time frame.
Plus, we take way too many pictures, and that adds to it too.
Right.
Yes, a lot of
You, Mom.
Mostly me.
Yes.
so
It's mostly you.
I
Tom,
would
it's all
say
the-
we were probably about I want to say 2/3 of the way through the rappelling section of the canyon when it started to get dark. And what happened after it got dark?
We all freaked out.
They all freaked out. And who had the only flashlight?
You.
Yeah.
So I had a flashlight because I usually bring a flashlight with me, and I'd asked my wife to bring one, but
Mhm.
it didn't make it in back.
Oh,
And then
no.
the kids brought one. So when you're trying to get 7 people through a canyon with one flashlight, it becomes a little bit harder.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Oh yeah, I'm Katie. I actually had my watch on me, which was at a really bright like light when you turned it on, which I used that as a flashlight. It was great when you were standing there in the dark, I guess.
Hmm.
It was fun.
Another
way to
thing that
improvise.
kind of slowed down. Oh, go ahead.
I just said that was a great way for him to improvise to turn her watch on.
Yeah. So another thing that slowed us down a little bit was there was water, and we were trying to avoid water. We were playing the avoid the water game. Melody, tell us how that went.
turned into me carrying everybody across every single patch of water.
Well, she got wet
Before
initially.
that happened, what happened before you carried everybody across?
I still had to carry everybody across.
No.
No, that was
So-
at the end.
Yeah,
Well,
so
that was
she
at the end.
so she'd gotten her feet a little bit wet, and so she was kind of volunteering shuttling kids across. and I
Okay.
would usually just stick over the top. And so we were kind of going a little bit slow moving through that, and it got pretty dark, and there's one little section that I guess it has a large pothole that Melody wasn't aware of, and I didn't know what the water depth was, but I'm gonna have Melody say kind of what she was doing there.
Most of the water up until that point had only thigh deep, so it didn't really go past my thigh.
Okay.
Or my calf. It didn't really go past my calf, and so I was just like, well, I kind of tested the water first. I'm like, well, maybe it's not all that much deeper, so I just kind of drop in, expecting maybe to drop an extra inch or two, but no, I dropped like an extra 2, maybe 3 feet.
Oh,
And
In
I-
over her head.
And then I was it ended up being like shoulder deep. And then on top of that, I had to climb out of it. That was fun.
It took her mom's breath away.
I was glad that nothing in my backpack.
right.
Yeah, so she took a plunge and went swimming without expecting to be swimming.
And it's dark and cold
And
by
it
now.
was really cold. The water was
Oh, man.
just cold enough to take your breath away.
Yeah.
It was, I think it was April time frame,
Ooh.
so the water's still cold.
Yeah, pretty cold. Oh my goodness.
It had rained, I think, a couple days previously, so there was a little bit more water in the canyon than normally. So after she went through, I ended up jumping in the pothole and shuttling everybody across it, and
Okay.
it was like it was taking my breath away as I was carrying people across. So.
Oh,
And then
man.
what did all you do to Melody because she was so cold?
Oh, we all laid on top of her.
Yeah.
Nice. Dog pile body heat. That's awesome.
She had some spare clothing that like a jacket and stuff that she'd put on, but she was still a little bit cold from that, and everybody else kind of dogpiled to kind of help warm her up.
It was just a basic jacket.
It was dry.
But it was dry.
Yeah, but everything else was wet.
Jedi doesn't
Then
remember
Oriel
much
was very
because
soaked.
he fell asleep. So you can tell him that.
Repel?
That was
That
not
was
it.
U-turn.
That was on U-turn.
So in the canyon, so it was getting pretty late after shuttling back and forth, like with the light and stuff. I think I went back and forth probably 2 or 3 times.
Okay.
Getting kids across water and things, and so I took. Jed was getting really tired at the end because he was pretty young, and so we were waiting at the top of the rappels, and he would fall asleep at the top of the rappel. And when it was his turn, we'd wake him up and hook him in, and then he'd rappel down and get down to the bottom, and then he would go back to sleep. we continued like through 3 or 4 rappels like that towards the very end, where he'd go to sleep, he'd wake up, he'd rappel down, and he'd go back to sleep.
And then when I got home, I probably just fell asleep.
And then he just fell asleep when he got home, he says.
Yeah, I
Jedi,
bet.
do you remember anything else fun about the trip?
Nope.
You don't remember anything else about the trip?
No.
No.
Oh, yes.
Did you like it when we went back 3 years later?
I don't remember.
That was just last summer.
So Clet has a story she wants to share in the canyon.
So, but like when it started being a while, I'd been like after lunch, I'd been getting like super hungry. I remember Katie, she told me that she really wanted my extra peanut butter sandwich that I had in my lunch because I don't like peanut butter sandwiches. And she's like, "Can I have it? Can I have it?" And I was like, "No." And then I ate it, and I haven't eaten a peanut butter sandwich ever since that.
She was so hungry that she had to eat it.
I bet you were glad you saved it and didn't give it to your sister, huh? Nice.
Yeah. So, and then we exited the canyon.
And you guys got really scared when it was so dark and we were exiting. What did we do? Because you guys were so scared.
We sung.
We sang primary songs,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah.
And did that make you feel better as we were singing?
I don't know. I just always sing.
Nice.
Katie?
I remember on the last rappel when I went down, I recognized the rock that we had gone, like I think it was last summer, right? We brought it up backwards. I recognized the rock
Yeah,
up
the
there.
summer before we had gone up it backwards just a little
Yeah.
ways.
Yeah, I recognized the rock, so I knew we were close to like the exit thing with the big canyon there and whatever. Yeah.
Were you excited at that point?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, the motivation went way up at that point
Stoke level.
because they had already walked backwards through it the year before, and so they kind of knew what to
Yeah.
expect
Right.
going out.
Okay, cool.
So, and we ended up exiting the canyon about 1 in the
No,
morning.
it was 11:59 because I remember
No.
thinking that was it 1:59?
It was
Oh.
like 1 in the morning.
The next
No, it
day,
wasn't.
Was it?
Because I remember when we were like hiking on the trail, we saw like search and rescue or like the little thing they had gone
Police
around to check
officer?
out. Police officer. I checked my watch and it was 12:20. I remember that.
I just
quite
remember
a
the
bit.
next day was Easter Sunday, and I was glad we were out of the canyon before Easter Sunday.
I remember when we were walking through the sand, like to the way out towards the car. I remember that all of us. It was like April Fool's, so we're all saying like April Fool's or whatever. So we like say something, and then we would say April Fool's.
Like, there's the end, April Fools.
Huh, that's kind of funny. That's fun.
Yeah, so there was a couple of people that were camping at the very end, and they had known we'd gone up there before, so they were concerned. So they called the local sheriff, and he just came out to scope the area out,
Okay.
like a preliminary type thing, and they ran into us, and we were fine, and so they kind of went on their way. But
Yeah.
it wasn't anything where we were in danger, but more just really, really, really slow.
Really slow.
Really slow.
Coming
So
out.
it took us 15 hours, and then that was in 2017. And then last summer, we took the kids to go back through it. And I said, okay, we're going to go back through it this time. We're going to take some more adult helpers and go back through this now that they've done a ton more canyons in the last 3 years. And how did that go, you guys?
We did it in like 3.5 hours.
Yeah, we did it in
really
3.5
fast.
hours.
I remember it being like so fun. I'm like, wow, I really doubted this canyon. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
And then we found the part where Clet ate the peanut butter sandwich like 2 hours in, and Clet's like, it took us 10 hours to get to this spot.
Wow, that's impressive. My goodness. So it took you less time to do the canyon the second time than it did you the approach the first time.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
That's impressive.
We did start at the top the second time, but
Oh, right. Okay.
but still,
Yeah.
it's still a little bit of a hike going down in.
Yeah, for sure.
I think part of the difference was experience. So a lot more experience with the kids, and then there was a few more adults. So like some of the rappels and things could be down climbed with the assistance of some adults,
And the kids were a lot better at down climbing
and
now
kids are
after
better
3
at
years
down
of it.
climbing, and they're older. So
That makes sense. So what did you learn from your first trip through that you now take with you into the canyons today? Do you take more headlamps or
to
anything
always
like
bring a flashlight.
I've started packing glow sticks.
Nice. Does everyone have a headlight or just a few extra?
well, I don't take all the kids as much anymore. I take the ones that are really interested now. So Melody doesn't really join us in canyons ever anymore. She didn't like that experience, and it pretty much ended her canyoneering
Oh, bummer.
adventures.
Yeah.
Katie, she does a lot of canyoneering.
You should tell them about the one.
Tell them about your favorite canyon you've done.
Oh,
I don't know what we're here. Oh yeah,
you can tell them about both.
I went down through Epic Blarney at Freeze Fest 2019, 2020 over there. It was really fun because I was lifted up most of the things because I was the youngest kid there.
Lots of snow.
But
Can't
you
imagine.
were,
I was
Wow.
the young.
she was the youngest, but she was also she's pretty flexible and strong.
Yes.
So she's able to actually down climb and up climb quite a bit of stuff.
Nice.
There's some stuff that were a lot taller
And
than
she
me.
did a lot of upside down tricks in the canyon too.
I did a handstand in every canyon that we did that year.
That's funny. That's awesome. Did you get a picture of the handstands in the canyons? That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. That'd be a cool collection.
And tell her what else you've done.
Oh, yeah. Over, I think it was
Battle Creek.
August.
October.
Not last year. I'm talking about the other one.
Oh, okay.
August, we went down.
Great White Icicle.
Yeah, Great White Icicle. It also got dark on that trip, which was fun.
We did go down in the dark on that trip too.
Like, we made it to the first two because it was already pretty late. Like, it started getting sunset. But, like, we went down and it was kind of slippery, but it was really fun because it was 2 other people. Yeah.
Mhm.
Is that the only Class D canyon you've done? Because you rappelled through waterfalls in that one, correct?
Yeah.
I haven't
It
done
wasn't
that.
really a canyon. It was more like a hike up the mountain to go down the waterfall.
So
type
she's
stuff.
done that one, and she's done
Battle
Battle
Creek.
Creek.
Battle Creek.
Tell her about the shower you took.
Oh yeah, I took a shower. I went down and it was kind of slippery, so I kind of stood there for a few minutes and ended up going down after I finally could, and I ended up just getting dunked like 3 times under the waterfall. It was cold because it was the middle of October.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
She didn't have a wetsuit, so she was freezing.
Oh,
Yeah.
my goodness.
Colette, do you have any other fun stories about different canyons you've been in?
Yeah, like my favorite canyon. It's
hmm
Black Hole. It's it was really fun because I remember going down it with one of a friend, and we
A
went down.
Clan friend.
No, they didn't go
No.
Oh,
And
that was middle maiden.
and we
It was
had
with the
wetsuits because there was like a ton of water, and I remember like the adults there blowing up me and Jed's floaties that we had to like, or like tubes like to float down like the river, and
Mhm.
they were struggling so much because it was so hard to blow them up. So I think it was so much fun. I got really cold at some parts, but I did eventually warm up, and I just think it was a really fun canyon, honestly. And I kept picking up like sand rocks, and I'd be behind, and my dad would tell me to stop picking up the sand rocks, and I'd be like, "But they're so cool, and I want to squish them." But it was a really fun canyon.
What's your favorite treat to eat in the canyon? Teddy Grahams?
Teddy Grahams. Yeah, that's what they're called.
Katie, what's your favorite treat to eat in the canyon?
Sandy Cheez-Its.
Sandy.
You got to add the sand to those for sure.
Really? Do you have a favorite
Gives them
treat
an
to eat in
extra
the canyon?
crunch.
Mm-hmm.
Jedi, what's your favorite treat to eat in the canyon?
Cheez-Its.
Cheez-Its.
I mean, wet Cheez-Its.
Oh, wet Cheez-Its.
Wet Cheez-Its.
Sandy and wet Cheez-Its. Jacob, do you have a favorite to eat in the canyon? He says Pepsi. That's a teenager answer.
Nice. That
Don't
would be
think-
your favorite beverage in the
Maybe after the
Yeah. Well,
Jedi.
awesome. How do you guys think that canyoneering has changed your life?
How has canyoneering changed your life, Jedi?
Okay, go ahead, Jed.
I don't get as much time on my tablet.
Good answer.
Do you feel like that's a good thing or a bad thing?
It's a good thing to be outside.
Yeah.
I agree. And then if he agrees, I feel like in a few years when he looks back on his childhood, he'll agree. But maybe right now in the
He's
interim,
probably
he's
the
probably
only
like,
second grader that knows how to rappel in his class.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay. So it makes me cooler than everyone else because I do more things than them.
Did they want to come along with you and learn how also, or
I don't know.
any of your friends have interest?
I don't know. They might do. I've never really asked them.
Colette?
It has made me like a lot stronger, for like, because I do like gymnastics and dance, and it makes, I don't know, and then like it makes me a lot stronger to be able to do a lot more moves and stuff, and it's really helped me in that, and it's also really fun. So
Very cool.
And sometimes you have to be brave to go through them. So
Yeah, you do. Sometimes it takes a lot of bravery, huh?
mhm.
Can you think of a time when you were super duper scared and you had to be really brave?
Yeah, I remember what was it? We went down like this super long rappel, and I remember I was like so scared to go down it because like it was like we hadn't done that many rappels at the time.
Is that a U-turn or a different one?
I think it might have been U-turn, I don't know. But I was just like so scared, and like it took a lot of bravery to go down it because at the time, since we haven't done much, I was still a little bit afraid of heights because I had still been a little bit afraid of heights. So it definitely helped me with the fear of heights, and it made me a lot more braver. So I had to be really brave on doing that.
Okay.
Very cool.
Have a thing, Melody?
When Melody first started going rappelling, what did you used to call it?
Reclining.
Reclining.
No.
That was
That-
one thing she
oh,
called it, was
she called it
reclining.
reclining?
I call it reclining.
And
I
then
always just thought of a reclining chair.
That's a great way to kind of describe how you have to lean back into it.
and then my kids always used to say, can we take a propel bottle, rappelling, and then will it be propelling?
That's funny.
What else? What other funny things do we say about canyons? Does anybody think of anything right now?
I don't know. I don't know.
Anybody have any other stories about different canyons? Or Leprechaun Canyon?
I can't really remember that much. It's been a long time,
Yeah.
especially between like quarantine. It's like erased my memory.
Quarantine has erased our kids' memories.
Quarantine was pretty hard, huh?
It's
2020.
been our time in the canyons this last year.
Yeah.
What about years ago when we went through Yankee Doodle Canyon and Katie faced her first knee-deep water? What did you do?
I screamed. It was cold. Okay.
And she made it halfway across, and then there was a bug. And so then she wanted to turn
Oh
around
my
and go
gosh,
back.
Yeah. I kept screaming.
And like, no, keep going. You're halfway
And
there.
then I think someone like helped me get across or something. I think you helped me cross,
That's
Melody.
Melody. That helped you.
Probably.
If anybody needs help in a canyon, who's the one that goes to help?
You, Melody. We're glad to have Melody in a canyon. She's good help.
So, Katie, if you think that going past a little bug in Yankee Doodle is bad, one time I was doing Imlay Canyon and I was climbing up out of a pothole, and there was this itty bitty pothole on the little shelf that we had to climb into to get out of the big pothole I was in. And
Mhm.
inside that little pothole was a dead bat.
Oh,
Oh,
ew.
reminds me of the
And
sheep.
That's probably
yeah,
even worse than the bug.
you almost had to put your hand right on it to get yourself up, like beach dwelled out of the pothole. And then you had to stand next to it while you hooked up to rappel down the next pothole. It was pretty gnarly.
That's
Pretty
definitely
gnarly.
worse.
You should tell them about Cassidy Art. Remember how we made it out and it was just kind of sprinkling rain?
No.
And then by the time we got Melody back to her grandma's, it was pouring.
So
You don't remember
Did you
this?
see the
No. It was right before
waterfalls?
Bryce Canyon.
it was
Yeah, and there were waterfalls coming out of the canyon like
Oh
crazy.
yeah.
Do you guys remember that?
Remember how the waterfalls are coming off?
I remember it
Yeah.
rained one time.
Yeah, and then we had just barely made it out and then it started pouring.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was downpour.
That's
Ooh.
crazy.
But the waterfalls were amazing that we were like, a good thing we're not there anymore.
Yeah, all the canyons definitely flashed after that. So,
Oh, good thing we got up then.
Yeah.
so yeah, it was
Yeah, that's
bad.
really scary when that happens. I've had a couple of near misses with flash buds. They're pretty intense.
So every single time we ever do like a canyon or like a really long hike, it's always usually at least an hour because it's always like a long time and you're like sweating and you're hot because I don't usually go in like the winter, but usually even if it is the winter, you're like freezing and cold. And then when we get close to the car and I can see it, I'm like, wow, the car! Yay! I'm finally not gonna be cold or warm or whatever. And I'm like super excited to see the car because it's been like so long and I'm either hot or freezing. So
Do you remember when we all had to take turns carrying the rope
That's
up from Diana's?
you guys always made me hold it because you claimed my backpack was the rope bag.
it was.
It isn't. It was my bag. I won it. It even says
But at
leprechaun
least
on
with Diana's, it's only like a 120-foot rope instead of like a 300-foot rope.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
Wait till you get into
it was
it, guys.
100.
and I remember the second time we went through Leprechaun, I was so excited because there was this one time my mom and dad, they went to like this canyoneering store and they had like this thing where you could get stuff with a ticket. And I ended up winning a backpack and it said Leprechaun on it.
We wanted to win it, and the daughter won it.
And she,
Nice. The Leprechaun's one of my favorite backpacks. I use it a lot.
And then
It's made for that canyon
and then
because it's so small.
my dad started taking it away from me and using it for his own canyoneering trips.
Oh my
Nope.
goodness, Ryan.
I've used it a few times too.
But it's mine.
It's nice of you to share. That's perfect. They're cool backpacks. Okay, so do
Why
you
don't
kids
you
have
tell them?
Hold on.
Wait,
Oh,
she's
sorry.
gonna ask.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Cheryl.
no? Do you have another canyon story? Do you want to tell? That's fine.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to ask what safety tips they have for our listeners today.
I think you should always be prepared, like for anything. Like, you should have like a medical thing, like if anybody gets hurt, or a flashlight if it gets really dark, or something like that.
Katie?
I would say don't let go of the rope when in the middle of rappelling because I've done that a few
That's
times. I mean,
scary.
you've had the safety on me, but like
Jedi?
probably not the best.
Be aware of water.
Be aware of water.
Always
Mhm.
carry an extra set of clothes with you.
Maybe.
Especially if you know there's water, right?
hmm
Mhm.
I'll bring like a rain jacket because that usually helps keep me warm. If I don't need my wetsuit, if it's just like I know there's a little water or something.
And
Yeah.
I would also say maybe don't bring other food beyond peanut butter jelly sandwiches.
Well,
Oh,
you probably don't want to bring anything that's gonna get like really soggy. Like you don't like if you're gonna make like a sandwich. It's either better to bring them like all the ingredients separate, or like take out like the soggy stuff, like
Or Uncrustables that are already
like-
packed.
mustard or like pickles. Like you don't want to put that on; it's gonna get like super soggy.
Yeah.
my mom buys these little tuna packages that are great in the middle of a canyon because we just like get them out and just eat the tuna from it, and they're sealed already, so it's great.
Those are pretty good. Some crackers and cheese.
Mhm.
Hungry.
So,
I like those with pickles too.
The what?
They have packages of pickles that you
Oh
can
yeah.
eat too. So I like those with the tuna and some crackers. Whatever.
so do you guys want to tell her anything about our backpacking trip through Coyote Gulch?
That was fun. Except there was this one time where I woke up and what was it? A beetle?
There was a beetle?
Yeah, and it was sitting on my sleeping bag, and I was freaked out, like I was screaming. And then you guys had to flick it off, and I was like, ah, bug!
What did you think of the waterfalls in Coyote Gulch?
Oh, those are cool. The
They were
waterfalls.
very cool.
They're
I really like
Yeah.
the little clothes.
The little alcoves, yeah.
They're like giant caves. They're
What time of year did you guys do Coyote Gulch? I haven't done that one yet, but we were talking about it just today.
It was April or May,
I think
and it was 2019.
it was spring break, so it'd be April.
Okay, cool.
What do you think? Oh yeah, I feel like I was luckier than some of the people because me and my brother both had hammocks, So when we had to sleep for the night, we weren't on the ground. It's super cold.
Yeah.
Um,
So there's enough trees that you can bring a hammock down there?
Yeah. Pretty.
Cool.
So when my least favorite part is like having to carry all of my stuff. That was super heavy. And like when we got towards the end, my dad started carrying a few things of myself. But there was one thing, we had like these food packages, and honestly,
MREs?
well, they weren't.
Yeah.
They were like brown packages.
Yeah,
of food.
MREs.
They weren't great.
They weren't great.
No.
Okay.
We kind of traded
Oh,
things in them, and
It was funny
it
because
was kind of
in
fun.
my food fest, we watched a video on the MREs, and they said that everybody just thought those were the best meals ever. And I think back to when I had an MRE, and I was like, really? You should probably rethink your
Yeah, we spent
process.
3 nights out there, and by the last day that we were hiking out, 3 nights, 2 nights. Oh, one
2
night
nights.
we spent at the top of the trailhead. Then the other 2 nights we spent inside of Coyote Gulch. And by the last day, Ryan was carrying his pack, Colette's pack, and Jedi's pack.
No, he was holding Jed's full backpack. He was only carrying a few things off mine
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
because I
A
was
few
sitting
things
on it.
from pretty much every person. I think my pack doubled it.
Papa Sherpa. That's awesome.
Jedi, what do you remember about Coyote Gulch and all the waterfalls?
I remember
Oh,
about
come over here and talk.
one canyon when only me and Dad went repelling on those
Oh, yeah.
waterfalls.
Benson
Oh.
Creek. Tell them about that.
I still haven't been on a waterfall. I'm not going down. Well, like that is scary. I was like, at first I thought the water was gonna be like warm. But, like once I like went down the waterfall, I was like, no more waterfalls.
When is water
And then
ever
it just keep going and going and going.
It was cold,
And like,
huh?
and then I asked Dad if if the water was like coming from different places or if it was just like all the same water.
Yeah. And how old were you then? Do you remember?
I think I was like 6 or 5, maybe.
I think it was like 5.
That was Benson Creek.
Colette?
That is cold water. It's always snow melt. It's super cold.
I remember like the first time my dad said we were going to go down a canyon with like a lot of water that we had to like get in the water, and I remember that, and we had to get our wetsuits, so we went to this person's house, and I remember I was like, oh yes, I get a pink one. My brother really wanted like a blue one, but he was sad because he had to get a pink one.
Because it was the one that fit.
Tough enough to wear. That's cool.
Anything else anybody wants to add?
Not really. Big arm.
I think they're running out of stuff.
All right. Well, if you could go anywhere in the entire world, where would you go and why?
Go ahead, Katie.
I'd probably go to New Zealand or Australia because they're really pretty over there, and I love to go like explore over there.
Those are high on my list too. I'll go with you.
All right.
I would go to Hawaii or Paris because Paris has a lot of cool things you can see, and they have like it's really pretty over there. And Hawaii it's like usually hot sometimes, like most of the time, and and there's a beach, and I like beaches, and I really like swimming.
Jedi?
Iceland because like
Did you say Iceland?
yeah.
Very
Well,
cool.
Iceland because like the waters off the coast is like heated by volcanic activity, and like you can go and you can like go in it.
You nailed that.
Like,
Good job,
good
buddy.
job.
That's really, really
That's
cool.
a smart set.
Iceland's high on my
I
list
didn't even know
too.
that.
Jacob, where would you want to go if you could go anywhere? Iceland, well, no one will bother him. Although I know he wants to go to Japan too. Melody?
I would go to Japan just because I really like the culture And sushi.
I don't like sushi.
Neither do I.
All right.
Any more questions?
Well, where would Ryan and Eliza
Yeah.
go?
Yeah, you guys can ask a question.
Well, I'd really like to go to Jump Canyon, but other than that, I'd really like to go out to New Zealand. I really love waterfalls,
Ooh.
but so I just like to go see the waterfalls. I've repelled a couple waterfalls, but I really just enjoy seeing them.
So, and I would
Right.
probably go to either New Zealand. I think backpacking back in New Zealand would be
That would
really
be
fun.
cool.
Yeah.
And then they also have a lot of waterfalls and canyons that you can do there. I also would really like to go to Switzerland. I think that has
I would
a
like
lot
to
of,
go back to Switzerland. That's really pretty over
I think
there.
that one has a lot of canyons as well.
They do have a lot of really beautiful looking classy canyons for
So,
sure.
Those are probably the place I
Nice.
want to go. That'd be cool.
I'm at it.
All right.
lot of
Well,
things.
Yep.
You talked them all out.
Does
cool.
anybody else want to say anything?
Well,
Oh, go ahead, Colette.
I know something. Since we started going canyoneering and hiking, it's made me want to go outdoors more and not just stay inside and be lazy. I only do that on Sundays, maybe. But it's made me want to explore more of the world because I know there's a lot more things that I haven't seen yet. It's also made my hair a lot lighter. I don't like my hair dark.
The sun lightens your hair.
yeah, nice. That's awesome. I like that you like to spend more time outside. I think that's really important. Well, cool. All right. Well, if that's all everyone has to say, I think that the canyons are calling and we probably should go.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for.
I'll let you guys know when I'm going to air this. It'll probably be a month or two,
Okay.
but I'll let you know before it goes live.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a
Okay.
good night.
Bye.